Welcome back. You're watching In Your Interest. I'm Shweta Kothari. The death of 26-year-old woman employee at Ernst & Young in Pune has shed light on toxic work cultures, work stress and missing work-life balance in India. Now recently, a similar case from Uttar Pradesh's capital Lucknow made headlines. In this case, a bank executive identified as Sadaf Fatima died after falling off her chair at work. Now Sadaf, who was working at HDFC private sector bank, was rushed to a nearby hospital but was declared dead on arrival. Her body was sent for a post-mortem thereafter. According to media reports, her colleagues cited work pressure as a possible reason behind her death. Now, a police official reportedly said that initial investigation suggests cause of death was a heat attack or a heart attack rather. However, no complaint from the family has been filed so far, and officials have recorded statements of the family members. Now, Sadaf was working as an additional deputy vice president at HDFC Bank's Vibhuti Khand branch in Gomti Nagar in Lucknow. The death of HDFC Bank employee comes days after EY Pune came under scanner over the death of audit executive Anna Sebastian Periel. In a heart-wrenching letter, remember, her mother penned a letter to EY India chairman Rajiv Memani. Anna's mother blamed the back-breaking work, long working hours and a culture of glorifying overwork at EY India as the cause of Anna's death. The letter ignited a nationwide conversation about toxic work environment and the immense toll workplace stress can take on young people, especially their lives. But Sadaf's and Anna's death are not isolated incidents, as a part of a disturbing trend rather, where young lives are often cut short by work stress and toxic workplaces. An example of this is Saurabh Ladha. The 25-year-old IIM graduate took his own life on 23rd of February 2024 after jumping from a 9th floor of a building in Mumbai. He was employed at McKinsey & Company. His death was cited as a result of unbearable work stress. Now, despite his prestigious education as well as a job, Saurabh's story revealed that even the most highly qualified young professional are not immune to the crushing pressure of corporate work culture. Similarly is the story of Jay Pavitran, the 19-year-old gig worker in Chennai who died by suicide on 17th of September 2024. Now, Pavitran worked as a delivery person. He became embroiled in a dispute with a customer after struggling to locate her address. The emotional toll of this confrontation, combined with the stress of the job, led him to end his life after being briefly detained by the police. These tragic cases from different sectors and social background demonstrate a widespread nature and toll of toxic workplaces, whether it's the corporate world, high-stake consulting jobs, or gig economy jobs. Young workers are increasingly falling victim to increase and extreme work stress and unrealistic expectations. The time has come for companies to prioritize mental health and well-being of their employees before more lives are lost. What exactly are companies doing? How far has the conversation come? To discuss that, joining us Amit Jain. He's the CEO of HR Solution TeamLease. Amit, thank you very much for taking time out. Good to have you back on the show. I want to begin with the death of another employee, in this case an HDFC employee. Workplace stress, it does look like, is becoming tragic day after day, with more number of people who are actually succumbing to it coming to light.
I think this is definitely another sad story. And like we were discussing earlier, Shweta, this is a story with two sides to it. On one side, organizations clearly need to lower the stigma about being able to talk about this subject inside their organizations, especially from a leadership level. The more leaders acknowledge this subject and more they encourage their employees to raise the flag or raise the call for help when they need it, the better all of us will be. The second is every organization needs to place into operation systems which actually measure the health and the wellness and the happiness and job satisfaction of employees. Look at the data to analyze it and decide what actions need to be taken basis the analysis that is coming out of that data. I think these three steps of measure, analyze, action are absolutely mandatory for any organization. However, there is also the other side of the entire picture, which is the employees. Ultimately, we need to understand that in this race for better salaries, better wealth, better progression, career progression, all of that. We need to look at life holistically and we need to put in context. And that is where, especially for youngsters, learning the skills to manage stakeholder expectations, to manage expectations, to tips to or tricks to improve productivity, focusing on some of these things is super important, because the reality of the corporate world is there are expectations, and typically employees do get pushed into meeting those expectations at personal cost.
Okay, I have to ask you right now, should companies, do you believe in this case, be individually investigated, given that heart attack or a death by a stroke does not really prove exhaustion? Because a lot of conversations out there is that how do you really prove that somebody's died by exhaustion? You can only investigate their workplace policies and try and understand if they give enough time to their employees to recuperate, if they are good to their employees, if they are humane to people around them. But you can't really prove exhaustion, can you, Amit? What should workplaces do? Should they be investigated right now individually, or do you think we need a law in place right now and a thorough revision of labor laws perhaps?
So one, I am not sure if I can really comment on the individual case, because it all depends on what the facts of the matter is. And I guess both the organization and relevant authorities are probably getting into that. I think you and me can comment more on at a generic level. I think it is important for organizations and employees to really take cognizance of this, be aware of these realities of the work life, and take steps to mitigate the negative impacts of these kind of situations. As far as regulations go, I think I'm not sure personally how much regulations are going to determine or help with these matters, because let's also be honest, like you yourself gave an example that some of these employees were probably also driven by their own aspirations to do better, to move up in the social strata, or do better economically, and kind of brought on the pressure themselves as well. So regulations have a limitations to solving everything. A lot of these things, I believe, ultimately are going to be the handiwork of organizations, and especially corporate leaders coming together to call our organizations out on this and bring the focus to where it is necessary.
All right, Amit, thank you very much for taking time out and for sharing your thoughts on that matter. We now know that EY's case, Anna's case is being investigated. Now, Sadaf's case is not under investigation. Her family member has not really filed an FIR in the matter, but we do also know that her co-workers have accused the company of making her overwork and have said that perhaps Sadaf's death was a result of overwork. But with that, we've run out of time on this show. Thank you very much for watching.